This is Master Within, and you're watching the Master Within live show. Please wait while we begin the session in a few more minutes. Till then, sit back, relax, and let us awaken our mastery within.
Welcome to Master Within live show. I hope you all are doing well this weekend. And today, just like previous week, we have returned with new content with very interesting topics. And we are going to raise some questions and answer the same in the light of the ideal. So today's topic is quite interesting. Today's topic is the dilemma in decision. All of our lives depend on the cumulative effects of the decisions that we make in our lives. The decisions can be from small to big. They can vary in multitude dimensions. From what to eat, to where to sleep, to whom to marry, to where to go, all kinds of things are involved in decisions. I just remembered an interesting quote of Master in Message Volume 5. He says, "Problem without decision is nothing but hackneyed ignorance without interest." Problem without decision is nothing but hackneyed ignorance without interest. Any problem that does not take us towards seeking a decision, it is nothing but our own ignorance and lack of interest. When we need something, we are interested in that, and that drives us to seek answers. And these answers enlighten us and dispel the darkness that is ignorance. Upanishads and all other great scriptures in the world, they say that ignorance is the root of all kind of mishappenings in the world. They are the mother of sin. Ignorance is the mother of sin. So to dispel this ignorance, we have to seek knowledge. And to seek the knowledge, we have to act. And to act, to do what to do and what not to do, we have to take decisions. So decisions play a very important thing. And when dilemma comes in this decision itself, then it is a great problem. So in today's video, we have Reverend Pivaswan Chakraborty with us, just like previous week. Together, we will seek into this problem, go into the depths of the dimensions of the topic that today entails. So I would like to further request you all that please share this video to all other groups, Facebook groups, or other WhatsApp contacts, wherever you think it's necessary, so that the truth, the existential truth, can reach more and more people in short amount of time. So please enjoy this show. I'm adding up Reverend Bivaswan Chakraborty. Yes, I think he's online. Your video is not visible.
Am I with? No?
I think there is some network issue.
Okay. Just give me a while.
Okay.
Is it?
Till then, I'm. No, I think your video is not visible.
Give me a while. I'll just be back. Sorry for that.
Okay. So till then, I'm going to request further that please stay online and share this to as many places as can. And we are always ready for questions. So if you have any question regarding the topic, please please ask us in this comment section regarding the topic. Today's topic is dilemma in decision. Decisions play an important part of our lives, and when we face a dilemma or we face confusion in what to do, we often feel slack to take the decisions, and due to some kind of ignorance we often take the wrong decision. So it is a very important issue to deal with. I thought today Bivaswan Chakraborty da would start the discussion, but there is some technical problem. Are you online? Okay, I think he's reconnecting. There is some issue. Then I'm starting with the thing. Let me present something. Master says, there's a very interesting saying by Master. He says that to decide anything, consider its pros and cons with a sharp consideration and outlook. It is better if you can decide it in a favorable or friendly relation. There lie factual outlook and sharp decision, where favorable and friendly adjustment of affairs is spontaneous. Whenever we take a decision, whether it can be of our personal life, it can be of our other kind of choices, it can be of our career, or it can be the choice of a team or a group, we first have to consider the pros and cons with sharp consideration and outlook. So the pros and cons, that means we have to think about the opportunity cost, that whatever path that I'm taking, whether it is necessary or it is not. If I take it, what will happen? If I don't take it, what will happen? So we have to think about the future. I think Rohan Bivaswan Dada is back, and he would further delve deeper into this topic. I'm just giving you a brief introduction. So every day what we do is actually in the beginning of the session, we give an introductory speech, an introductory presentation of the whole thing, so that we can set the foundation for the further deep analysis. So unless we give the foundational understanding of the topic and interact with you people, and we are always ready to answer your question, please ask any question in the comment section. And that's why we build the foundation and then we deep dive into the questions. So continuing it, he said, it is better if you can decide it in a favorable or friendly relation. Often the decisions we take, they can create certain kind of repercussions that has an opportunity cost attached to it. Like, I have to take a decision to study at this moment, but for that I have to give up my interest in watching a movie. So at every decision, it is often seen that for every decision there is an opportunity cost. We have to leave something to get something. Now consider this. Many people consider this as sacrifice, but if you look at it in a proper way, that if I give up an old pencil and if I take up a new one, is this a sacrifice? Rather, it is a profit, because I'm getting something way bigger than what I already had. The same thing is often seen in spiritual life, that when we take up a dedicated, disciplined way of life, we see that many people say that we are sacrificing a lot of things, we are becoming monks, but it is actually not. We have taken a very good decision in the sense that we have decided to fulfill a larger sphere of life. We don't consider one home as our home. Many homes together is my home. And this is the essence of sannyas. Sannyas means he who gives up his home to give homes to 10 more people. So it is also an important decision in life. So we have to take decisions in such a way that they keep the friendly relation and favorable condition in our environment. And we must also have the factual outlook and sharp decision, because where favorable and friendly adjustment of affairs is spontaneous, the factual outlook lies there. So no matter how harsh decisions we take, we always have to be very much considerate about our environment, because it is not my decision and my alone, because every step that I take, they have some collateral beauty or collateral damage to my nearby environment. So with this, I will just wrap this up. This was just an introduction. There are further more important things to do. For that, I will ask Bevaswan Chakraborty. I think his network is fine again.
Yes.
Yes,
First of all,
thank
am
you.
I audible and clearly visible? So
Yes, you are audible.
okay. Thank you
You're
so
audible.
much. So first of all, I
And
would
a little bit higher voice would be appreciable.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. First of all, I would like to offer my pranam to the great master and apologies for the disruption in the internet. I am really struggling with internet today, unfortunately. But anyways, we are back live and we are here. Thank you so much, Shovik, for the really nice introduction. It was really helpful. And it was really nice for you to explain about the basics of what we are going to discuss today. So every one of us, Jai Guru, accept my namaskar and great good evening to everyone, and let us get started with today's discussion. So as Sovik quickly mentioned, that we are trying to discuss today about the dilemma in decision, and it is a really important topic to discuss. We face a lot of issues while taking important decisions, and decisions are the most important, if not the most, then let's say one of the most important things in life of a human being to take, which will decide the growth, which will decide many things that is coming up ahead of that person in life. And about that, so I would request everyone to please go ahead and first of all share this video, share the link, share the link of this video along your WhatsApp friends, in your WhatsApp status, in your Facebook, Instagram, and do follow us on Master Within Facebook page to know more about what we do. So without making any further delay, let us get started in today's discussion, that is dilemma and decision. So when we say the word dilemma, first we need to understand what does dilemma means and what happens and why even dilemma happens, and then we will discuss it about how to not face dilemma in a decision and how important is decision, and whatever we discuss is going everything is going to be in the light of the ideal of our supreme master. So when we say dilemma, it means that we do not understand or we face trouble in deciding something, or we have two thoughts which are dicey. And Souvik, sorry to interrupt, but let me know if my network is clear, because in between I can see some
Yes,
lag.
yes, your network is fine, working fine. I'll let you know in case something happens.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, so when we talk about dilemma, so dilemma is situation for any human being that they faces, and they have some alternatives. And when we face dilemma, we have alternatives of whether to do this one thing or whether to do that. And it happens a lot with all of us in our day-to-day lives. We face dilemmas in making choice. We face dilemma in many things. In thinking, we face dilemma in career choices, in life choices, everywhere. And it happens because we are not able to prioritize which one of the choices is making more sense and is good for us, or most importantly is better for us, right? So dilemma happens that way, and how do we actually tackle the dilemma is also very important. the best way is to find our own selves. That is very important. Now, when we say that we need to find ourselves, it is only possible when we know ourselves better. That what do we want and what do we need to finalize for the situation in which we are having the dilemma. And for that, we need to understand some of the very basic things in life. So, if we talk about that more clearly, let's say when we have a dilemma of choices, then the most important thing in that is to prioritize the choices. That priority needs to be done. Now, this is the bigger question to every one of us here to show we can make this session more interactive. When we say that we need to prioritize choices, how do we prioritize choices? Do we need to prioritize it based on what we think is good? Do we need to prioritize on based on what will happen if we choose something in the future? Or do we need to choose or decide something based on what is better for the greater being? And by the greater being, what I mean is the greater in our surroundings, the welfare in my surroundings, or the people I am with, and the better in the greater cause. So that's where we need to finalize, and that is only possible when we actually understand this from the light of an ideal. What are your thoughts on this, Shovik, before I go ahead and discuss more? I
I
think
think it's a
your
very
video is a
interesting
bit
and
lagging.
is it okay now?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's a very important thing that I've heard in one place a Nobel laureate was saying that in when he started his tree plantation program, he had to plant those trees in at first in the minds of other people when they have to do an important work, an important mission. Then first they had to implant that idea in their head, so that the decisions other take so that the decisions that take are kind of supervised by that internal idea, the internal essence. Because no matter how many legislations we bring, no matter how many restrictions we bring, they will give a generalized way of constrictions and constraints in the society so that we cannot do wrong. But unless we start doing it from our within, it is a very hard thing to change things, because it is very easy and negligible if one person gives 1 rupee to a fund, and then throughout the world we can collect 7 billion rupees. And if one person gives 7 billion rupees, then it would just wash away and it can destroy his whole career. So every individual's little decisions can create huge impacts in the social perspective. So whatever you said, that because in return, the social perspective, the changes in social perspectives will in turn affect me. Like I am creating some kind of distortions in the society. I'm spreading bad habits in the society, and by that, other people are getting that. Other people are getting used to that, and that is in some way returning to me. So my decisions, to speak of only my decisions, is a wrong thing, because it is an integrated play, integrated game. And like master says, that he says that he is the most selfish person. The only difference is that his self is not narrow. His self is all inclusive. It includes other people. Just like a small example of our father in my home. When father goes to the market and buys something, he buys for self, for him, but that self includes the 4 people who are present in the home. His self includes the little family, and it is same but just an extended version. That's why Lord, our master, he says that ব্যক্তি দম্পতি গৃহ সমাজ রাষ্ট্র ধারণে, from Vyakti to Dampati to Griho to Samaj, then Rashtra. I mean, from individual, then couple, then yes. In this way, we are going to we're augmenting, we're creating a cumulative effect in this in a larger sense, from individual to the whole world. Unless we start from the individual, unless we start from the bottom level, the foundation, the larger things are impossible. So every one of us has to have some kind of effect in the brain. Otherwise, it's a very hard thing to bring good decisions in the world, because it is easy to break things, but it is a quite hard and constructive to create something tremendous in a good way. Yes, Dada. Uh, uh, you are not your yes, yes, yes,
Now it is fine.
yes. Now it's fine. Tell me.
Yeah, yeah. So very correctly said. It all start with the one. So I really like the way you mentioned that when I say selfish or when I say self, so that self is not confined to just one being. Okay, it is a combination, and that combination is inclusive of the complete circle of everyone that I am associated with or the people. So that is what we actually need to learn from the ideal. And when we actually face the dilemmas, all we need to see is from the eye of an ideal, right? And the eye of an ideal will help us see how to tackle those scenarios. Okay, so as Shavik mentioned, one thing is that we cannot think from just one thing. We every individual has to act in a way that he has the responsibility of the society or for the greater being or for the masses. Okay, and that applies. So those responsibilities can be anything. Those responsibilities can be day-to-day responsibilities. Those responsibilities can be any social work, and those responsibilities also include to act smartly when one faces a dilemma, be it in choices or be it in proper decision making. Because our actions, whenever we do something, it is, let's understand it like it's sends a signal to the universe. Now this is nothing like some astrological or some like magical thing. It is like a chain of actions that happens. Whatever I do today has a direct or indirect link or reaction or effect to the next one that we are living with, and so on. So it started with the family, as Sovik explained in Bengali, like the Vyakti Dampati Riho Samaj Rashtra Udharan. So it started with one, and then it happens to the family, and then to the society, and from society to the city, state, and then like that Rashtra, that means the nation. So our small decision that we make are affecting in a way to the whole nation. And that is the most important thing, because each one of us have got a responsibility, and each one of us belong to the nation. And the nation is nothing, and nation is not just by one person. It's a combination. It's taking each and every one of us. It's about people. So we cannot be selfish while we take decisions. So whenever we decide, whenever we face a dilemma, let's give an example. And let's now drive this discussion into a more practical discussion by giving examples so that we actually now deep dive into the topic properly. The dilemma and decision. There's a boy who is facing very difficulty in deciding what he wants to study. This is a very common scenario in each of our Indian household that we see everywhere in each and every family. That when a boy or when a girl, when a student has actually passed his class 10, his or her class 10th, now what to choose? Do I change? Do I take science? Do I take math, commerce, or do I take arts? Now, how to tackle this? Now, this is not a career coach is definitely important, but who is more important and who can help that student in that scenario is his own conscience, his own understanding, and his ability to understand his knack in what he or he is good at. So it is, if you see this circle is coming around, how I can know myself better, how I can be concentric so that I can know myself or oneself from our center. How do I know that what I am good at? You have to do the things in the proper action. And this topic that we are discussing today is in some way or the other linked to what we discussed last Sunday as well. That is belief versus action. And what we believe and how we act, and how we actually manage those so that we can act smartly in taking decisions when we are in the dilemma. Now, this may sound a bit complicated, but this is actually each and everything is linked very nicely that way. So, how can a person, how can a student or someone who is facing the difficulties can tackle this? So, they have to know what the person is good at, and that is only possible by exploring better. And who will actually guide it properly? It's only possible when it is surrendered to an ideal. When we are surrendering, when a person is surrendering him or himself or herself in front of an ideal, then they can know themselves much better about, from the eye of an ideal, about what is the correct thing that they need to do, that way. So what do you have to add on this, Shobik? Anything that you would like to add? Yes, you're on mute.
Sorry, there is a very important thing that you said regarding this. You talked about conscience, and
Okay.
for conscience, I think, I think I was reading an article where it was saying that just like anything, decision making is also an art, because there are big posts and big jobs that are given only to make decisions, isn't it?
Yes.
Just their work is just to make proper decisions, because to take proper decisions, we have to take into consideration of so many parameters. We have to look into the environmental parameter, we have to look into our psychological parameter, and many other common sense and all other things. And depending on all those faculties, all those parameters, we get into a proper solution, and we tend to follow that path. Now there are again further things, that whether that is feasible or not, so it takes a great amount of brain work to take a decision. And the core idea, the core I will say, the core fodder for this, that Dada said, is conscience. Conscience mean vivek. It takes two things: conscience and consciousness. Consciousness is chetana, the responsiveness, how I can respond, how much responsive I am towards the society. And conscience is vivek. That means how much suitable decisions, or how conducive how conducive my decisions are, or my how conducive my experiences are with respect to what is necessary for the upliftment of the existence, or the fulfillment of the task that I am handling. This is called conscience. And another thing is consciousness. If the consciousness is if our consciousness is given food, if our consciousness is aggravated, then only our conscience can rise. Now, as the scientists and all other productivity experts say, that it is also an art, it is also a practice to make proper decisions, because it needs a well nourished culture of our mind. Let me give you a good example. Suppose there are two type of geniuses. First kind of thing is that a person is a great genius, he takes very good decisions, but at the same time, if that person is unethical, then the whole thing can doom to despair. Just for this reason, in the UPSC exams of India, a new subject had been added, I think in 2013. Its name is ethics, integrity, and aptitude. Now, why does that subject was added? Why that ethics, integrity, and aptitude was added? They had all other kinds of other subjects that are necessary to take decisions in an administrative level, but they added another subject called ethics, integrity, aptitude. Why? So that their direction does not sway from the original path. Said their direction does not sway from the original path. Now, to bring them into the original path, in the existential path, they had to change the syllabus itself. So there are two kind of things that we have to see. First is, if we have the faculties to be worthy of taking decisions in respective fields. Like for physics, I have to become a good physicist. For designer, he have to have good sense of designing. But also, we cannot go away from the humanism that is an integral part of all our decisions. Like I am a great engineer, but my engineering designs are I cannot bring up my engineering designs at the cost of the destruction of the environment. If I'm unethical, I'm not responsive to the environment, then my engineering decisions can destroy the planet. That is not good. So we need a proper balance of consciousness and conscience, both. Now, as the scientists now say, that even this thing, culturing the consciousness, culturing the conscience, both of them is an art by itself. Now combining them together is a bigger art. Now don't you think that for this art we need some kind of exercise? For doing a proper mathematics, we had to learn, we had to practice certain other problems. For drawing a good painting, we need some kind of exercise. And along with that exercise, we need a teacher who has the expertise in that field. Just like we have an expertise in mathematics, expertise in other subjects, we also need someone who has the expertise in life and the human mechanism as it is, and especially the mind, because mind is the integral part of the human body. And that kind of person is called living ideal. Through that person, we learn so many things, we get to experience so many things. And another vital thing, that when we start some kind of exercise, we start to develop certain skills, we have to go through a process. We need to go through a process. That process creates conducive atmosphere inside out, so that those kind of necessary faculties develop in our mind and body. And that, to initiate into that process, requires initiation. Initiation is that formally accepting that teacher, that ideal, who has all kind of mastery in his own being. If we can get access to that kind of mastery in our being and becoming, then all kind of things are very nicely fulfilled by it. It is like the master key that has access to our personal life, our work life, our family life, and everything. Because that is the key foundation on which all other faculties of our life stands. Isn't it? Like, we think about all other extravagant things only when we are fed properly. Only when we are fed and well to do, then only we think about other kind of luxurious things. Now, all other decisions we are making in all other luxurious fields of our lives, we often fail to see this basic need that we always had, the basic essence of who we are, the human. And regarding this, we need a master indeed. Now, who is the master and all those things, that's a different board game altogether. We will get into that in some later episode. Now, I think this much I had to add regarding this topic. So I would ask Dada that what do you think, and how to explain it further with proper examples and all.
Thank you, Sovik. Very nicely said. I don't think I can add much upon what you have already so nicely explained about the thing. But I would certainly like to add and discuss it with some of the examples from where we can learn how important and how critical decision making can become. Okay. So when we decide, right, it's not only about our immediate well-being that we should think of. Now, why it is, for that we have to look at examples. Now let's talk about why is it that we cannot think about our immediate well-being. Because we are not able to see, and we are not having that farsightedness. So the main thing that one should, the main, like the skill set of a human being that they should have in decision making, or when they are facing a dilemma in decision making, is far-sightedness. Now, what does far-sightedness mean? Now, when we say far-sightedness, it is two words. One is far, and one is sightedness. Let's first talk about far. Far means which is not near. Now, that definition can change from person to person. When I say that I am right now in Pune, and Ranchi is not near, it is far. But when I say I am in Earth, and I say Mars is near, but Jupiter is far, things like that. Now, from that context, if I say I'm in the solar system right now, and Sun is near, but Proxima Centauri, a star, is far. So the way, and as we enhance our perception, okay, and as we rise up in the thoughts, and as we increase our consciousness, then the definition of far changes. And we see that far is only far if we are not conscious enough, and if we are not capable enough of anything, and in what context it is changing. Now, for me, or for any normal human being who is not, let's not talk about me or any normal human being, for a person who is in the path or who is into the path of consciousness, they will have farsightedness, much farsightedness. Now, how and what is farsightedness? Now, anyone who, let's talk about cricket. Now, if you ask me about a match that, hey, right now India is batting and India has scored 150, and while 5 wickets are down and still 2 good batsmen are there, and the opponent team is weak in bowling, what do you think the score will be? I can just predict. Okay, that's prediction. But if you ask Sachin Tendulkar, or if you ask some cricket expert who is into that, or if you ask even Mahendra Singh Dhoni, who is known as one of the greatest captain ever, he has got farsightedness. He can decide just by looking at how someone is throwing the ball or how is a batsman trying to defend a ball. From that, he can very well decide whether that batsman will be there for longer or not, because he has gained mastery and expertise in that domain. And his farsightedness is so much that he is keeping cool, and he knows that he cannot score much and we will be able to reach the score much better. So the definition of far for Mahendra Singh Dhoni in cricket is very small than what I have, or than someone who is not into cricket. Similarly, that farsightedness one should have in the life, while taking very, very important decisions that matter not only for ourselves, but for the surroundings, and that is affecting other people, and people like that, the nation, and even the world. You never know how it is going to affect. And you cannot survive alone. We cannot survive alone in the world. So farsightedness, gaining farsightedness is extremely important when we face a dilemma in decision. And while we face dilemma, how can farsightedness work? It will be easy for us to determine, if I take this decision, what might happen. And that might things becomes a confidence that if I do this, this is what going to happen in the long run. You know,
I have
if
a
I do,
question.
yes,
I have a question to ask you regarding this. Sorry to disturb. It's
yeah,
the question is that we also see this dilemma in very short scales. You are talking about far-sightedness. When suppose the exam is much far. I mean, after 5 to 6 months, then we consider to not to study. Rather, we think about let's have some fun. So at that time, we are not considering about what might happen. But later on, when exam comes, that kind of farsightedness suddenly it comes near, and we are aware of that we need to study right now. So how to deal with this? I think this is a very important problem for all of us, all of students
very
actually.
important, very important. So I have learned to face this from my mother. I would like to tell the incident that happened when I was in my college, when I was pursuing the masters of my design. And I came to home after during the lockdown, and we had so many assignments to complete online. And since things were going online, I was like, okay, we have a lot of time, I don't have to go to college, I am at my home, I can just take my time and do the assignments. And at that time, Shovik, if you remember, we were starting master within videos, and I was a lot into editing, and I had that iPhone, and I was using 2 phones to edit
Yes,
this,
yes,
that, all the fun stuff was happening.
yes,
I was experimenting. So one fine day,
yes,
I was just watching some editing videos on YouTube on how to do color grading, and suddenly my mother came in and she asked, "So, what about the placements? Are you prepared well for all the campus placements and what's happening there?" Then I said, "Placements are in December. It's so far. Right now, it's March." Okay. At that time, my mom said, "Yes, definitely, it is far. If you see the calendar dates, it's a lot of days. But have you thought about what might happen in these days? You are thinking that you can start studying from August. But what if the second wave comes into the place? Or what if Corona takes a very tremendous drive? Will you be able to focus? Did you think about the consequences of what things might come into the picture which you are not aware of? Okay. So never keep anything incomplete. Try to complete the things on time. it is better that you complete the things on time, but best if you complete the things before time. And suddenly I thought, okay, I never listened to my mother. I always say, okay, I'll do it, but let's do that. And I'm thankful to her, and I offer my pranam to her feet, that I learned one of the greatest lessons of my life, that we should not procrastinate. And that I learned because she had farsightedness, that you never know what is going to happen. And right now, people are facing problems. It's Corona period. You don't know if more problems will come up, because that's what history has been. When a problem comes up, it has a lot of consequences. I didn't have that depth to realize that. I did not have the maturity to understand that there could be more serious issues that I have to take care, rather than delaying my exams. And maybe at that time, I have to do each and everything together, and nothing could have been done full-fledged. So that
I think this
farsightedness.
also,
Yes.
yes, I think this also brings that thing into the picture, that only reading books or having some kind of technical knowledge like us is it has nothing to do with that dilemma and decision. To have to have empowered conscience and consciousness, to have both of them proper, we need a personal experience in life.
We definitely have to experience a lot of things. That's why hardships are very important. Okay. And if we talk about all the past prophets, and if we see the hardships that they have done, I don't think we have much time to discuss that, because that would
Yes,
not
yes.
cannot be completed in just one session. It would need days and
Definitely.
months to just even think the amount of pain they have suffered and
Yes,
experience.
but also even they had so much pain and everything, they knew
Yes.
both the cause and the consequences at the same page.
Oh yes, they did.
They were prepared for everything at every moment.
They were prepared.
Thakur Master used to say is that be prepared for every situation. What can grief do to you?
What can give to
Grief, if when we talk about grief or sadness, it is a desire unfulfilled. So desire
desire?
nothing out of the consequence.
Yes, correct. So as I was talking about the farsightedness, I will just add two more lines and I will complete that part of the discussion.
Exactly. Yes, of course.
Farsightedness is a prime thing that one should have while taking a decision, and to be prepared for what might happen, even if things are not going in the correct order, so that we can bring back in order, is what needs to be done. For that, even if what I said or committed needs to change, doesn't matter, we can change, and we can bring back things for the greater good. And the best incident to learn this is from Mahabharata, when Sri Krishna explained Lord Bhishma, what he did in the youth. So Sri Krishna, so Lord Sri Krishna has taken an oath that he will not pick up any astra during the youth. But when time came, okay, he was the one to explain Bhishma about the importance of how to take decisions in the critical scenarios. He had committed, I will not take astra. But what he did, we all know. And maybe you can add more lines to that in a better way. I can just add. So scenarios like this, we can understand how it is important to nurture the thoughts, how it is important to decide what to do at the exact moment. Because what Lord Sri Krishna thought is for the greater good. He didn't think that I have told I will not pick up any weapons, I will not. That's not what he thought. What he thought is for the greater good. Whatever decision he took at that day, okay, rest is history. So he had that farsightedness that whatever actions I am going to do, I know it is going to benefit millions and millions of people till the end of time. So having that farsightedness needs consciousness, and that consciousness, to gain that consciousness, we have to understand the importance of an ideal in our life, who will help us to be concentric and to dedicate ourselves and to follow the principles of the ideal, and also act and also believe and act in the certain way, so that so that we can gain the mastery of not getting afraid by dilemma or taking any decisions like that. I'll ask you to take your part now, so that's all I
Yes,
have.
yes, Dada. And you were talking about this, and we can see these decisions. Like I was thinking, when you was talking about Lord Shri Krishna, when I see about the life of our master and also the lineage of masters who came before, we can see people of all spheres of life come to them just to ask for decisions. Have you noticed this?
Yes, definitely. Yes.
And
What?
his I mean his answer to those questions are so unique and so to the point, and they are of all spheres, like whether it is for cooking, whether it is for love marriage, whether it is for a problem that Casey Banerjee won Padma Shri
Yeah.
for making the rifle. The design of rifle, there was a glitch in that design, and that design was given by Thakur. He credited the whole Padma Shri to Thakur, but Thakur rejected that.
Yeah.
How, I mean, what is this extent of farsightedness? So it shows that there is a certain level of inner mastery that can crack anything.
Definitely.
And
Very correct.
and
The power, it's very precise. It will hit to the dot like that. Exactly. Yeah.
and it is so, it is, I mean, so shapeless like water that it can fit into any subject. And this reminded me of Lord Krishna. Like, he does not care about what people think today or tomorrow. Nothing. He just cared about his own principles and ideal. That to win the war of dharma for existential benefit, I can sacrifice everything, my own name as well. Let people scold me. He said that many people will do many things in my name, but I don't care. I just need them to live now.
Exactly.
I just need
Definitely.
them to live now.
So thinking about the greater good is exactly the very fine key to not face dilemma and what to take, what to decide. So what when I say how to face the dilemma and decision is that we need to attain the mastery over farsightedness. Don't you think so, Vic? That's the very
Exactly.
key thing, and that farsightedness,
Exactly.
as I explained about Mahendra Singh Dhoni in cricket, I can explain about. We can take any fields,
Exactly.
in like dance, Michael Jackson in dance. Okay, so
Sundar Pichai is a great example of Google. He
yeah,
invented the Chrome just at the moment
just right.
when Bing just rejected Google out of their search. And if the Google Chrome was not invented at that time, then everything would have smashed. The whole
Everything would
Google
have,
would have
can
been
you
down.
imagine, opening the internet without Google Chrome right now. If we
Yes,
do a
yes.
random survey, it will be like anything.
Even
That has happened.
Microsoft Edge, if
Edge.
Microsoft Edge, they are using the Chromium basis of Google Chrome. Everyone is using that design.
Yes, that farsightedness we can see in the technology also. I will talk about Steve Jobs. I am working on a MacBook right now, so you're owning an iPhone. Okay. So when Steve Jobs launched the iPhone, I request each and every one of the viewers to see how he gained mastery on his own subject. Okay. Because it is very important to learn from examples. I always say that. So when Steve Jobs launched the iPhone, he said that we will not have the QWERTY keyboard. And people said, okay, so how will you point to the keys? He said, we will point with the best pointing device in the world, our fingers.
Fingers. Oh, yes.
I remember this word. And he said that we don't have a keyboard, the screen will look bigger. So one random, he was Steve Wozniak. He was the chief design officer of Apple at that time. So they had a clash in the thought. So he asked one journalist to ask this question, that ask, how will you point to the keys? He said that you will point with the best pointing device in the world, that is your fingers. And that's how the iPhone came into the picture. So the
Now all
farsightedness,
phones are screen touch. Now all phones are.
the farsightedness that man had back in 2007. He said that the needs of the people will keep on increasing. They need big screen, and like that, everything will minimize, and minimal things will come into the picture. So that's the farsightedness he achieved over technology. For each and every field, for each and every scenario, we have seen a master, and for to get that farsightedness in life, we need an ideal
And
like
Steve
that.
Jobs, is such a spiritual man. Very few people know.
Yes.
He used to come. He also referred Mark Zuckerberg to come to India and meet his master, who is, I think, Nim Karoli Baba of
Okay.
Nepal. There is a Baba called Nim Karoli Baba. He was the spiritual master of Steve Jobs. When Steve Jobs was distressed and everything, then he came to India to meet this man, and through him he learned about Lord Hanuman and many other things, and he was so inspired, and with that inspiration he returned. And when Mark Zuckerberg invented Facebook, Then Steve Jobs suggested Mark Zuckerberg go to India and visit my master, who is there,
Yes.
master's shrine, and visit it. Just see that it's a natural thing. Like he is doing Jajan in his own way.
He is doing Jajan in his own way. Yes, correct.
What was the necessity? And as others respect him, as Mark Zuckerberg respected him, Mark Zuckerberg came to India to meet the shrine of Neem Karoli Baba. It's such an interesting, story. And you were talking about farsightedness. Just before ending, I would like to show a verse of Master regarding his farsightedness, if you ask.
Yes, please.
Okay, with that, we can conclude. What do you say?
Yes, definitely. We'll add a few more points and then we will conclude. And
Yes,
I
yes,
request everyone on the viewers, please go ahead and ask anything if you would like to ask, because
Yes, yes.
it is very important that we make it an interactive session. Yes.
Yes, and the core reason that I'm showing these books, essentially, forcefully, I would say, Thakur's books, Master's books, so that people start reading them. Because then, if we get to read from the proper sources or get to see proper people who are following him, then the kind of clarity gets a foundation, I think. It's a less chance to be misled.
Yes.
And this is it. So, Master says, far-sighted realistic view with pros and cons, which consummates in a wise role of life with every apt conscientious consideration, is the banner of wisdom that unfurls the meaning of things with proper experience. This verse is exactly what we have said throughout this session. It has
Exactly.
all the points of whatever we have concluded. But we did not know about this verse. I just found it now, isn't it?
Yes.
This is the nature of truth. It is always one, no matter how, from which direction we see. It says, far-sighted realistic views with pros and cons, which consummates in a wise role of life with every apt conscientious consideration, is the banner of wisdom that unfurls the meaning of things with proper experience. If you have any
I
question
think-
regarding the meaning
Yes.
of this, please ask questions.
I think this 8-9 lines of Master is everything that we wanted to discuss today. And this small stanza has the power to fit in. And if one is trying to, like deduce this and improvise this and include this into their lives, I don't think anyone will face any dilemma and decision, because then the person will know what to think of when to decide, and not to just think of their own benefits, but for the farsightedness, for the greater good, for the future. That can only be possible when we are in front of the ideal. So we have a question, or
Yes. No, I think it's just an accolade, not a question. Thank you, Shweta Patro.
thank you so much.
Jai Guru. Jai Guru. And so, and can you imagine Thakur Master said this whole thing in English language, in message.
Yes, definitely he did. Definitely.
So,
So
that's
when
an
we
event.
talk,
Yes.
I would just like the viewers to go ahead and watch. We made 3 videos back in 2021, which were called From the Chaos to Cosmos. So in that, we had really good inclusion of Master's quotes, and we tried to explain that and break it down into simpler things for the people. So for the Chaos to Cosmos is the playlist in our YouTube channel in Master Within. So please go ahead and watch. We also have podcast for that, which we keep on sharing, and we can share it once again to every one of you, just for
Yes.
the link.
I think this is it. I would not, since there is no more question, I would not go deeper into much further deeper. I think basic things we have covered. So from further reading, you can check out other books.
You can check out.
We have
So just to conclude, what we wanted to discuss today is, now the small part can be cut into a short and shared to people also, if they would like to, is that when we say about dilemma and decision, and when we say about decision making, the key thing that comes into the picture is we need to have the ability of farsightedness, so that we can see what might happen if we just decide currently. What if we take decisions right now? Is that going to benefit the greater good? Is that going to benefit the greater people, the people? Because We cannot survive alone. Whatever actions we do, we have a responsibility that our actions do good for the people, because we have to stay with the people and we are for the people. Exactly. It's like a concentric circle. We have to kind of visualize and imagine it. And if we have the farsightedness, we should not focus on small immediate things. Like, if I just do this thing, I'll get a lot of money, and that's it. So decision making shouldn't be so immature. Rather, decision making should be for a greater cause. And I
Yes,
am a
there is
part of it also. That's
yes,
what we
there
do.
was a saying that an investor was saying that people who don't have farsightedness, they save money, but people who have farsightedness, they invest money,
Yes.
and they
Yes.
become angel investors in the future. It's a example like that. He
Yes.
don't have the money in an immediate sense, but in a later sense, he gets much more money.
Definitely. So that's about the importance of farsightedness. And to gain the farsightedness, we must look into the lives of the past prophets, and we must be focused and have a concentric life. We must awaken our mastery within, and we must have a master in our life. We should have a concentric ideal from whom we can learn, and whose principles we should implement in our day-to-day lives, so as to understand things better. So
Exactly.
that's all
And people, yes, and people, everyone, if you have anyone have any questions that how to choose a master, or whether it is a good thing or it is a controversial thing, you can always ask us. We are ready to have anything, to debate or to question, answer, or anything, because we are also seeking the same thing. We all are co-travelers, isn't it? If you, master used to say that if you get a better thing than what I give, tell me too. I will follow you as well. It's such an
Yes,
open invitation. And
definitely.
so we are
So,
ready. Ask question, ask anything through email or
so I think
comments.
that's what we have for today for
Yes,
Dilemma in Disciplines. Feel
so
free to leave comments. Feel free to text us, email us on our official email ID.
and
And
every week we come. Tell please give that description.
in description, yes. And follow our page, Facebook page. We have more details there about Master Within. And of course, our YouTube channel. Do subscribe it, like it, and we hope to see you like this once again in the coming weekend. So till then, take care of your health, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and let us awaken our Master Within. Thank you. Good night, Joy Guru.
Thank you. Good night.